Hello everybody, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. It's about that time. Let's go take that walk and see what's in the fridge today. Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. This should be a real treat. I am hoping anyway. This is Tioga-Sequoia's Midnight Lightning Bourbon Barrel Aged Beer. And going to the sites here, and this was sent to me by Chris. He sent me a bunch of the Tioga-Sequoia beers. So Chris, thanks a bunch, brother. I do appreciate it. This particular beer is not even, it's not even listed on Rate Beer. They've got their regular version of the Midnight Lightning, not the Bourbon Barrel Aged version, which is an 11.8 percenter. But Beer Advocate does have this particular one listed there. And this is a limited edition, as you can tell by all the wax that's on the top of the beer here. Bourbon Barrel Aged Imperial Stout. Says here 13.6%, IBUs are 70, serve temperature is at 50 degrees, glassware snifter and cellar temperature is at 55. And over on the other side here it says bottle count 1200, so they only did 1200 of these bottles. This says here our 2014 American Style Imperial Stout was aged in our cellar for a full year in whiskey barrels from Colorado's Breckenridge Distillery. The result is this delicious, complex beauty of a stout. Heavy notes of roasted cocoa, heavy notes of roasted chocolate, creamy vanilla, and bourbon, with subtle notes of rich coffee, soft oak, and dark fruit. And this is right out of the fridge, and it is sweating profusely here, guys. It's actually dripping with this sweat on it. And this has just been in the fridge. It's very humid out today. But like I said, Rate Beer doesn't have this particular version of this beer. They got the regular version, but not the Bourbon Barrel Aged version of this beer. And even the regular version, it says no score, requires more ratings. There's only three different ratings on the regular edition of this, and none, it's not even listed. And going to their site for all the Tioga-Sequoia beers, it's not listed there either. This is the only one listed on the Tioga-Sequoia page. This is an Imperial Stout, and it has no commercial description here on Beer Advocate. It does have a commercial description on the Rate Beer of the regular version, but there's no use reading that. Well, I'll go ahead and give you that. It says, our full-bodied American Imperial made with dark and roasted malts that give off characteristics of dark fruit, chocolate, toasted wood, and espresso. This monster of a stout gets its name from the famous bouldering problem at Camp 4 at Yosemite National Park. Been there. The featured chalk lightning bolt is drawn on the rock and on our label to mark the name Midnight Lightning. So, but this particular version has been in the barrels for a full year, so it should have big bourbon notes on this. So we'll go over and see what it says for the food pairings. It says here for the food pairings for this style of beer: cuisine, buttery, No, don't have a cuisine. Just has the cheeses listed. Buttery, Brie Gouda, Havarti Swiss, and since it is a stout, it goes well to chocolate dishes. The meat is beef, smoked meat, game, and grilled meat. Glass bottle, pint, becker, non tumbler, sniffer, oversized wine glass. I got my Sovereign beer glass here, guys, and being a 13.6%er, this is going to keep for years and years and years and years. And I probably could just as easily throw this in the fridge downstairs and keep it for 2, 3, 5, even 10 years or even longer, probably at 13%er, and let it mellow out, and some of those flavors become more complex. But wouldn't be fair to Chris, since he spent his hard-earned money on it, to buy it and then pay to ship it out to me, for me just to throw it in a fridge downstairs and he not even see the review on it. So we're going to do it. We're going to get it on. So if I can take the knife and cut some of this wax off where I can get the opener on it. I'm not a big fan of the wax there, guys. And a lot of people saying, well, it keeps the air from getting in it. Well, the air is not trying to get out. The beer is under carbonation. The beer is trying to get out, not the air. As long as there's pressure inside, the air is not going to get in. But, you know, a lot of people have various opinions on that. So, plus it lets them charge more money for it. That's the way I look at it. When you see something with a wax on top of the bottle, it's usually going to be pretty pricey. I don't know what this bottle costs. Pretty sure that it's not cheap. Pretty sure it's an expensive bottle. So, Chris, thanks again, brother, for spending your hard-earned money on this, because I know it wasn't cheap. And I'm going to give a little bit more of this wax off, because I don't want it going down into the beer or falling off into the glass. Alright, I think we got enough off to get the cap off. Nice little hiss. I'm really looking forward to this. Now, to me, guys, the brewery Tioga-Sequoia do some good beers, but they do some beers that are fairly mediocre too. I guess a lot of breweries do that. Let's go down the center on this one. Yeah, we're going to get a head on this one. Let me back off just a hair. Can't get it all in there. That's bigger than a normal size bottle. 1 pint, 6 fluid ounces. So that's a 22 ouncer there. Bomber size, if you will. Over into the light, and we got a little over a finger of head on that. I don't know if it's going to stick around very long. But over to the light, there is none, guys. It's pitch black. Even through this little shallow part in the bottom, it's pretty dark. I'm not getting any light through it. So let's get a nose on it and see what we got. Definitely getting the bourbon. Hints of chocolate, just like it says in the description, is exactly what I'm getting on the nose. I'm getting chocolate, rich roasted malt, almost to the burnt characteristics. Maybe some dark fruit in there, but the bourbon, being in the barrel for an entire year, is overpowering all that. And that will mellow out over time if you sour it. And as it warms up to room temperature, some of those other flavors and aromas will come out of the beer. But I'm definitely getting the bourbon and the chocolate, the roasted malt, and the hints of some dark fruit. Well, it's that time. Let's give it a taste down the old gums. What do you think, guys? Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Chris. Thank you, brother. Big, 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 big bourbon taste. If you're a bourbon fan. Got a heavy bitterness on the back end, though. With, what did I say, 70 IBUs? Yes, 70 IBUs. So it has a substantial bitterness to it. And they have to do that to balance out all the malt that's used to brew a beer of this magnitude. And seeing the regular version is only 11%, and this is 13.6%. They've taken that beer and put it in the barrels, and I'm assuming when they get it out of the barrels, some of that bourbon, which is leached into the beer, has changed the ABV of the beer from 11 to 13%. It's gained 2 alcohol percentage points just by being in the barrels. I'm assuming. Surely they haven't brewed a 13%er to put in the barrels. It's probably the regular version that's put in the barrels, and it soaks up some of that bourbon and changes the alcohol percentages and goes up 2 notches. So. I am getting a little bit of the oak out of the barrels, which usually lends to a little bit of hints of vanilla from the oak barrels. But that usually will get a little more intense as it warms up, like I said. So let's do that. Let's let it warm up and let her taste it. Probably got enough to pour her a glass out of the rest of the bottle here, which I'll probably do, and see where it ends up. I'll be right back, but it looks like a winner, guys. Alright guys, I'm back. Got just a little left here. This was freaking awesome, guys. And I'm a sucker for these bourbon barrel aged beers. It has all the information that we need. It's got the vintage on the bottle. It's got the ABV on the bottle. It's got the IBUs on the bottle. Great beer. I mean, now that it's warmed up to room temperature, the chocolate and the vanilla from the oak barrels is coming out. Hints of dark fruit, hints of coffee, maybe even some hints of some tobacco in there. Rich roasted malt, almost to the burnt characteristics of which a lot of these stouts have, especially when you get to the bigger ones like this at the 13.6%. Very, very tasty. Very, very, very tasty, guys. So like I said, I'm a sucker for these big bourbon barrel aged stouts. I think they are extremely tasty, and this is no exception here, guys. And letting it warm up and puffing on a nice cigar to go with this, they went very well together. The only drawback to this, which is not really a serious drawback, it's a 13.6%. It is kind of a tad, just a microbe on the boozy side. This would be a great beer to throw into the cellar or into the fridge for 3, 5, or even 10 years down the road, to let this all come together and mellow out and just become more complex over time. So let's do the final chug here. Can't leave any of that in there. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this is a pricey beer. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't $20 or more for this bottle of beer, especially it being aged in bourbon barrels for a whole year. Very costly process to do that for a brewery, and then on top of that, they sealed it with wax, which adds a little cost. Somebody dipping each one of those 1,200 bottles in wax. Very, very labor-intense beer. Very, very well-made beer. Guys, I'm on the fence between a 9 and a 10. There's absolutely no reason why I should not give this beer a 10. All the information, if it didn't have the vintage on it or something like that, I would probably give it to 9, but it's got all the information on the bottle that we need to know. Vintage, ABV, IBUs, everything. It is slightly boozy, being a fresh bottle, with a whole year into the bourbon barrels. Great candidate for cellaring. If you can get your hands on one of these and put away, or even 2 of these, drink one now and put one away for 5 or 10 years, or put both of them away and drink them on a special occasion. I do consider this a special occasion beer. This is not something you're going to run out to the store and pick up and drink that evening usually. Unless you just like the taste of the bourbon barrels and stuff. But it is, I'm sure, a pricey beer. So Chris, thanks again for sending me this one. This was probably the tastiest beer that I've had from Tioga-Sequoia. It was pretty damn awesome. Unlike the last 2 that we did from them, which were fairly ho-hum, average beers, this is an exceptional beer. This is very, very tasty. And like I told you guys before, Great Beer doesn't even have this version, the bourbon barrel aged version, listed anywhere. So they're out of the scene. They're out of it. They're just out of it. And Beer Advocate's got it, but it's only got two people have reviewed this particular version of the beer, and both of those liked it. It doesn't have enough ratings for them to even give a score, so neither one of them are even in the picture here as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned, my opinion, this is a 10 beer with all the information on the bottle that we need to know, and the taste that comes through on this, very, very tasty. So 10 for me on this one, guys. If you've had this one from Tioga-Sequoia, this is their bourbon barrel aged version. This is their Midnight Lightning. Let me know what you think. I freaking loved it, and the other half did too. She loves these kind of beers just as much as I do. So very, very tasty, guys. So it's a 10 for me. So let me know what you think if you've had it, and come on back tomorrow. We're gonna see what's in the fridge. See you then.